folks, Wager Detective here, 5:51 p.m., November 20th, 2025. We're going to cap this North Carolina State and Florida State game. As we can see here, Florida State, North Carolina State is 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2 in their last 7 versus Florida State. And then they are, let's see, at home, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. They're 5-2 in their last 7 at home versus Florida State. So recently, and then also overall, they're pretty much in control of the series recently. But if you look all time, North Carolina State is 16-27. So they're starting to make ground on that overall record. They're 10-11 at home versus Florida State all time, but they're 6-16 on the road there. So, and they've won 3 in a row. So they do have a little bit of an edge there. North Carolina State. I'm going to take a look at this Florida State team and what they do well. Okay, Florida State 5-5, coached by Mike Norvell. 76-48 career record for Mike Norvell. 61% win percentage, and he's 6 games above 500 at Florida State. I will say that Florida State is 7-8 in their last 15 road games, and they're 2-7 in their last 9, and they're 0-5 in their last 5 road games. Not real good. They're losing by an average of 20 points per game last 5 on the road, and the average score in those games for Florida State is 51.2. On the other side, North Carolina State is 5-4 in their last 9 home games, winning by an average of plus 7.1 points per game between their plus and minus differential. The average score in those games is about 62.2 in those games. So we'll take a look at Florida State, see what they've done this year. If we look at the schedule of what they've been on and what they've done, they're coming off the home win against Virginia Tech last week, which isn't really that great. Virginia Tech kind of checked out. They're 3-7. They're not going to be bowl eligible now, but they did win that game. If we look at what they do on the year, they do have 13 turnovers, 6 of them coming by interception, and then on offense, they got 17 passing touchdowns. But look at that, they got 30 rushing touchdowns. I mean, they had 8 in one game against Kent State, albeit, but they got 30 rushing touchdowns, and they had 3 last week against Virginia Tech. So you look at what they're doing against teams that aren't that good. They had 5 against Wake Forest. Let's take a look at Wake Forest, see what kind of, they're having a good year. Wake Forest is pretty good. They beat them pretty soundly, 42-7. They only had 1 turnover in that game. I want to see what Wake Forest had in that game. Wake Forest had 2 turnovers in that game. They pretty much controlled them, but they controlled them on the ground. This team loves to run the ball. If we look at what they do, I mean, look at this: 46 rushing attempts, 26, 40, 43. I mean, every one of their games except 2 have been 40-plus rushes a game. But it doesn't seem to work for them, right? Look at all these games where they have all these rushing yards, and look at that losing streak. Virginia, Miami, Pitt, at Stanford, you lost by 7. Stanford's not that good this year. They're 3-7, right? Who'd you beat up on? You beat up on Kent State, you beat up on Eastern Texas A&M, and then you caught Alabama at a bad time. I mean, you might win. That's 1 out of every 10 games that you'll beat Alabama. So you had that win there. And then you beat Wake Forest, and then you beat Virginia Tech last week. So not really impressed with what they do. If we look at what they do defensively, they only give up 9 rushing touchdowns on the year and only 15 passing touchdowns. So they're if you look at what they've given up 18 touchdowns, or excuse me, 24 touchdowns on the year, and they have 47. Think about the difference there. They got 47 touchdowns on the year, and they've only given up 24, 34, 44. So they're plus 23 touchdowns against their opponents this year. They don't turn the ball over that much. 13th is fairly reasonable, but they've only forced 13 turnovers, 11 of them coming by interception. So they're defensively, they're ball hawks. that love to get the job done by interceptions. I want to take a look at their stats here. And if you look here, it shows 43 rushing attempts a game to only 28 passing. So they're almost plus 19 attempts in rushing than they are trying to throw the ball. So they're more of a run team. And if you look at Tony Castellano, he's having a pretty good year. Quarterback transfer from Boston College. He's got 12 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, and leads the conference in yards per catch with 15.8 his ADOT and 9.3 yards an attempt. So they have talent there. If we look at who's getting what done on the ground, Thomas Castellano's got 8 touchdowns on the ground. Gavin Sawchuk's got 8. Those are your 2 big guys up there. And then you got Sam Singleton that's got 4. Makai Danzy's got 3. Randy Pittman's got 3. They got a bevy of guys that got 3 touchdowns, and a couple of the guys that got 8. Deuce Robinson leads the conference in reception yards with 947. Makai Danzy leads yards per reception with 22.7. I mean, these guys are leading the conference, and they're doing some big work. As far as receiving touchdowns, Deuce Robinson's the guy there. He's got 5. And then they got 4 guys that got a couple touchdowns. Danzy, Thomas, McCoy, Pittman. So they can get to you in a bunch of ways. Let's see what they do defensively. They do have 63 tackles for loss. That's pretty good. 25 sacks, 11 interceptions, 21 passes deflected, and 7 forced fumbles. If we look at punting and kicking, Jake Weinberg leads the conference, extra points, 43 of 43. He's 11 for 15 on field goals, contributing to 76 points for his team. So pretty good there. And then their punter, Mac Chimuno, let me see here, kicks and punts. He's got 23 punts on the year and an average of 44 yards a punt. So he's not the most prolific punter that you'll see. Let's see what they do. We do know Florida State is 0-3 on the road this year. Okay, 0-3. So let's take a look at the difference there. They actually pass for more yards a game on the road this year in 3 games, but they get more rushing done at home. But they're prolific no matter where they go, road and home. They're 0-1 on Fridays this year, and against the MAC, they're averaging 257 yards passing and 170 on the ground for a total of 427. And then defensively, let's see what they're giving up. They give up 208 yards passing a game, 145 on the ground, and 353.7 total. So I'm not really impressed with this team, but I mean they have had. It says their SOS is 38th in the nation. I mean, I'm not seeing it. I'll be honest with you. I'm just really not seeing. Let me take a look here. You played Alabama, I'll give you that. You played Virginia, but you lost that game. You played Miami, you lost that game. You played Clemson, who's not having the greatest year, you lost that game. And the teams you beat are Virginia Tech. Let me take a look at this. 3-7. Okay. 7-3, so 10-10. 10-17, 14-17. And Bama's going to bring it up. So 14-19, 22-19. Your wins have come against. Okay. Kent State's not on the level of this guy, of North Carolina State. Either is Stanford, either is Wake Forest. And like I said, you got to remember, North Carolina State's coming off a beating last week that they took. And then these guys beat Virginia Tech by 20. So I like the team that's a little bit more hungry. Now you got a team that's coming off a home win. Now they're going on the road. A team to definitely keep an eye on. But as we said, the history between North Carolina State and Florida State recently, North Carolina State is 5-2 in their last 7 versus Florida State. And they're 5-2 at home, their last 7 at home versus Florida State. So we have the edge there. And then Florida State, again, 0-3 this year on the road. And their wins against teams that I'm not really respecting other than the Bama game, but I think he caught Bama at a really bad time. If we look at let's take a look at NC State here. NC State coached by Dave Doran. He's been there for seems like forever. And look at that record, 92-70 at North Carolina State for 57% winning percentage. The guy's a winner. Overall, 115-74. He's going to have his team prepared tonight. You better believe it. They're definitely going to be ready and rocking and rolling in this game. Okay, offensively, North Carolina State passes the ball for 262 yards a game, and they rush it for 147. C.J. Bailey, quarterback, 19 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions. Not bad, right? Not bad. And he is a second-year sophomore, so he eclipsed his numbers for last year, but he's got to turn down the interceptions a little bit, because they can hurt. C.J. Bailey's got 5 rushing touchdowns as well. Jaden Scott's got 4. Look at Dalen Smothers has got 6, and they got 20 on the ground. 20 touchdown passes on the ground, and they got 20 in the air. So that's pretty impressive. They're very well balanced. 40 touchdowns on the year. Let's take a look at defense and fumbles, what they do. We look at Cade Fordham. He's got 56 assists on tackles, leads the conference. And then see what they do. They got 51 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, 6 interceptions, 32 passes deflected, and 3 fumble recoveries this year. And then nothing really stands out with the kicking and punt returners. Your field goal kicker, Kanoa Vincent, 35 of 36, extra points, 4 or 5 on field goals, 80% there, contributed for 47 points for his team. And then Caden Noonkester, 43 punts, an average of 44.9. So about even with the punting. But a very balanced team there, right? Let's see what they've done, what they like to do. Okay, so they rush the ball about 31 times a game and they pass. So they're more balanced than Florida State. When I think North Carolina State, with the coach they got, they're going to know that they like to pass the ball. Florida State loves to run the ball. They love to run it. I mean, they're plus 19 running to passing throughout the year. So you got to think they're going to be ready there to stop that run. And they only give up 140 yards a game, so they should be able to test that Florida State running attack. Now, if you look at average yards per game, 409, they're giving up 440. You know, things are leading towards the over if you think about it. But receiving-wise, they got a couple guys here. Justin Jolly's got 5 receiving touchdowns. Terrell Anderson's got 4, and they got 4 guys with 2. So they're very well balanced. We went over their defense. We went over their kicking game and their punting. We take a look at these game logs. They do have 13 turnovers in the year. Again, just like Florida State, they're primarily coming by interceptions. They've thrown 10 interceptions on the year. And they don't force that many turnovers. They only forced 9, but another ball-hawking laden team with 6 interceptions, and they got 3 forced fumble losses from their opponents. And then if we look at last week, they only forced 1 turnover, but they turned the ball over twice against a Miami team that was very opportunistic there. Quarterback Bailey didn't have a good week, 17 of 30. And then they rushed the ball. They attempted to rush the ball 20 times and only got 23 yards. So, a little uncharacteristic for them, especially in the week before. They scored 4 on the ground against Georgia Tech, who's 9-1. So you beat Georgia Tech, you beat Campbell, that's not impressive. You beat Wake Forest, you beat a good Virginia team that aged well, and then East Carolina, not bad either, right? 7-3 team. Okay, 9-2. We're 16-5, 16-8, 23-8. We're not going to count Campbell. 23-8, 23-9, 32-9. Their opponent's record. I'm gonna jump to it. I'm not gonna prolong this anymore. Wager Detective's call tonight is going to be North Carolina State plus the points, plus 6.5. Let's take a look if that number is still the same. Take a look here. Yeah, 6.5. I'm going to take North Carolina State in that game. I mean, I just think North Carolina, I mean, like I said, Florida State 0-5 in their last 5 on the road. Florida State 2-7 in their last 9 on the road. Whereas North Carolina State 3-2 in their last 5 at home, and they're 5-4 their last 9 on the road. I mean, 9 at home. So you're looking at that. I mean, come on, man. So Florida State, again, their last 9 on the road, they're 2-7, and their plus minus per game over that time is minus 13 points per game. And then if you look at last 5, they're 0-5, and they're losing by an average of 20 points a game on the road. So does that turn around here? And even if it does, are you going to cover that 6.5? You know, I don't think so. And so for that reason, Wager Detective is going to call North Carolina State plus 6.5, and 59.5 is a little shaky. But if you do look at, I mean, both teams can score 59.5. All it takes is one bad quarter for this game not to get to the total. And if you look at their history, as we said, between when they play, let's go back to this: 36-42, 60, 44, 60, 75, 48, 44, 51, 95. Last 2 games have gone under, and then you got a lot of overs in here mixed in there at some point. But I think 59.5 is a little high. I would lean under. I'm gonna call North Carolina State plus the 6.5 and under 59.5. This is Wager Detective here, 6:08 p.m. and that's gonna be my call. Hope to see you guys in the winner's circle. And yeah, North Carolina State plus 6.5 is my stronger lean here, and I'll talk to you soon.